Well, these are just some of the observations and the lived experiences of some of the residents in Ekurhuleni. Apparently, that city suffers 1,000 power outages on a daily basis. We're going to find out exactly why that is. Well, the Ekurhuleni mayor, that's Mzwandile Masina, says that coalition governments are an inevitable reality for South Africa's political future. While coalitions are indeed unavoidable, and they probably are going to be unavoidable as we go into these elections, Masina says there needs to be a clear framework in place on how the sharing of power between the parties would work. Well, let's delve deeper now into some of the issues in Ekurhuleni. We're joined by Action SA Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate Tlogi Moseki, and we're also joined by Toni Ngodwana of the African Independent Congress and Allister chair, who is from the Patriotic Alliance. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Mr. Moseki, let me start with you. You are the only party that is not in government at the moment. This is your first election that you will be contesting as Action SA. If you do not win outright in Ekurhuleni, there is the reality of coalitions. Are you going to go into a coalition with any of the parties that will be willing to make that arrangement, or are you happy to sit in opposition benches?
Yeah, well, good afternoon to you, Xoli, and good afternoon to the viewers back at home. Well, we've been very clear, we've been on record in saying that we as Action SA are going for majority outright win. However, be that as it may not have our way. If residents of Ekurhuleni suggest that we go into coalition, we are clear that we are prepared to engage every party in Ekurhuleni except of the ANC. And as our president have indicated, we've also been on record in saying we are not going to go into that coalition willy-nilly. We will have to start off by engaging residents of Ekurhuleni, so that whatever that we engage ourselves into have got a buy-in from those communities who have put us there.
What seems to be the problem with the ANC?
Well, you can't sort out the problem with the problem. We all know that we are where we are 27 years later because of the African National Congress. So it's a very clear matter that we need to get rid of them altogether if we are serious about this project of saving South Africa. So if you can look at our campaign, has been very clear. It's project Save South Africa, Save Ekurhuleni, Save Tshwane, Save Johannesburg.
Mr. Ngodwana, the coalition in Ekurhuleni, it's been described as the most stable post the 2016 elections. You were very part and parcel of that arrangement. If you obviously don't win outright in Ekurhuleni, as Mr. Moseki is suggesting here, you still happy to be in bed with the problem that is the ANC?
Thank you very much, Xoli, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. To answer your question, yes, we were part of the coalition government in Ekurhuleni, of which AIC did play their role there into that municipality to ensure that the service delivery goes to the residents of Ekurhuleni. So if we don't win with outright majority, I wouldn't say we cannot or we will, because that decision will be taken by the senior leadership. Then we left it. I will leave it to them to discuss.
How would you describe, though, this past 5 years under the ANC-led coalition government? Have things been smooth?
No, you cannot say things were smooth if you are working, if you are serious about work. Yes, there are those difficult, because if you are working and there we are pushing service delivery to the residents. So it was not easy, but we make sure that we did. Because remember, it's AIC, Patriotic Alliance, IRASA, PAC, and ANC. It's 5 parties. Then you'll find out, and like for instance, AIC, we don't have a ward councillor. So in some of the issues, there are projects that the community will come from my constituent to say we need this. So you'll have to go to the ruling party to sit down to make them understand or to push them to fix those issues there into that constituencies. Okay. So, but understanding when we have the differences, we used to sit down, discuss, and out, then we push for the service delivery issues.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, you were also part of the coalition arrangement in Ekurhuleni. Is there a single issue, or should we say a single project, that the Patriotic Alliance said, as part of being a participant in this arrangement, we would like this done for the community of Ekurhuleni, and as a result, that has been achieved in the past 5 years? Is there a single project that you can say was driven mainly by the Patriotic Alliance?
No, good afternoon. Thank you, Xoli, for having us, and good afternoon to all the viewers at home. Yes, there's quite a few that I can mention, but I'll speak specifically to where I stay. I stay in Wemel Park, Boksburg. And when we went into the coalition agreement with the ANC and also the other parties that were involved, we had one idea in mind, and that is for Wemel Park, which has no infrastructure whatsoever. And we decided to negotiate and put it as part of the IDP during the negotiation in 2016, 2017, for them to have a community hall, for us to have a community hall. And that has been part of the IDP for last year. It has been moved over to this year, but that is one of the items that we've negotiated and that we've managed to basically get over the line. Also, we can speak to...
So a hall exists in Wilmer Park, which previously didn't exist?
It has been okayed by the IDP, so it's on the budget. It was actually supposed to manufacture last year.
So for 5 years, you've been pushing for a single community hall, it's only budgeted now?
Look, if we speak to like Eden Park, we've negotiated, or we've agreed for a pool. The pool is there. In Rege Park, we've negotiated for a small business hub. It's there. It's been basically gotten over the line. So it's elements like that that we've negotiated, and it has been gotten over the line.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's exactly what we want to hear. That there are tangible results.
Yes, definitely.
All right. We are going to continue with this conversation. You heard earlier one resident raising the issue of live wire on the ground. That cannot be good for children. What can be done to solve that? We'll delve into that and other issues in a moment.
Okay, staying in Ekurhuleni, it's pleasant, but it's much of a fright in staying around here because of the theft and house breakings. And if you can go around the corner up there, there are Nigerians that are staying there, and you cannot do anything. You cannot even send your own child to the shops. but it's pleasant because here there is a lot of job opportunities. There are people from other residing suburbs that come and look for jobs, but for me, it's just a downfall and a top rise for us.
Whole myriad of issues there. We're going to also talk about the issue of foreign nationals. Mr. Moseki, let's start with the electricity issue. Illegal connections, sometimes, they lead to these live wires being run on the ground, and particularly in informal settlements. If you were in charge of Ekurhuleni after November 1, what are you going to do to try and solve the electricity situation in Ekurhuleni, particularly illegal connections?
Well, first thing first that we need to do as leaders of society is to be very clear in terms of enforcing the rule of law. I think that's where we need to start. I always tell people that South Africa, we are a flock without a shepherd. We're living in a metro where we all know that right now is 2021. You must actually have a vision that 2022, 2023, the issue of migration will actually be quite high.
Yes.
And as a result, in terms of your infrastructure development and investing new infrastructure needs to take place. That hasn't happened for quite a very long time. And that cascaded to the same situation that we're seeing right now in terms of your illegal connections that our government is fully aware of. It's not that they are not aware of. They know exactly, they know the perpetrators, and they even know, we have got whistleblowers who are talking about these things. So I'm saying first thing first is that we need to enforce the rule of law. We can't have people who are using electricity without payment, because then it becomes a burden to the entire community, to the those who are even paying for that particular electricity. So we need to address it head on and make sure that whoever who uses electricity in South Africa, in Ekurhuleni, uses it actually from and is able to pay for it. We have a very serious problem that I can tell you, one of a lot of residents in Tembisa who happens to be indigent are owing the municipality of 4,000, 5,000 rand worth of electricity. We're talking about indigents. Whilst we've got people who are all over Ekurhuleni who are using electricity without payment. And most of them, I'm sorry to say, but I need to be very clear on that, happens to be your immigrants and your illegal immigrants for that matter.
Mr. Ngodwana, the issue of electricity, let's start with whether or not it's true that residents in Ekurhuleni suffer about 1,000 power outages on a daily basis. Is that true? And why is that?
Thanks, Xoli. I think that it happened. It is there. And as the city, we know that we've got a lot of informal settlement in Ekurhuleni, of which some of them we come across with these illegal connections, of which the state has been fighting with it. And to ensure that thing, we decrease those illegal connections. Yes, we did make sure that some of the informal settlements, I think it's 29 of them, has been electrified in this term, because we're fighting this thing of illegal, because people will need electricity. So yes, that is not enough. We need to make sure that we get rid of that, because we'll find out most of the people, they do that thing purposely and they can afford to pay electricity. So I think I'll agree as to say the law enforcement must come strong, and also as the city or the municipality must make sure that we provide our people with electricity, because you know these days everybody needs electricity. That's the fact. We cannot live without it. So we need to make sure that each and every resident of Ekurhuleni has access to electricity.
At council level, though, what are some of the decisions that have been taken around this issue of illegal connections?
Yes, to fight it, because the decision of electrifying informal settlement, it was taken, and we did it, electrify those informal settlements. But you know, because last year we had come across COVID, so most of the things didn't go well. So we still need to push when we come back after tomorrow to say this is the major problem that we're facing, because each and every day we are facing with this thing of electricity comes back and go. So we need to fight it so that everybody can have access to the electricity. Then will be, I will say that if we can achieve that, that will be much better.
Yeah.
Yes, because now you'll find out you've got an electricity that next to they don't have and they need it. So they will opt to connect illegally because they need it. So if we can make sure that even with those informal settlements, we do that thing of zoning.
Okay.
Yes. Then it will be better in the meantime, because we cannot say now you'll build more houses to take these people out. We have to prepare in those informal settlements so that we can have electricity there, a proper electricity.
Allister, Chair, let's come to you.
Yes, sir.
Your campaign has been quite clear on illegal immigrants in the country. In Ekurhuleni, clearly, you are faced with probably a major problem, just as I think some people will say in Johannesburg. What is to be done with this issue of illegal foreigners who are doing illegal things within these communities? You've heard from the resident, you've also heard from Mr. Moseki there that the illegal connections seem to be driven in the main by people who are not of South African origin and may probably be here illegally.
No, with our president being here previously and also a deputy president, I think they were very much clear on our position on illegal foreigners in South Africa holistically. And also we have to admit that even my partner's campaign, also they have adopted that approach whereby we say all illegal foreigners must go home. Look, it is very much clear that in all informal settlements in our metros all over South Africa, illegal foreigners are dictating and dominating. They are informing us how we should live. The illegal connections, that is just one of the ills that illegal foreigners bring into South Africa. We're speaking about drug addiction. We're speaking about the hostage of children that recently also spiked up in few of the metros as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is that why the lady in one of the voices we played spoke about how it's difficult for her to send her child to a nearby shop because
Definitely.
she says there are Nigerians
Definitely.
around. What
Definitely.
happens?
If you go to, like, let's say Germiston CBD, for example, in Ekurhuleni, all of the shops, all of the buildings, most of the buildings, let me say that, Xoli, has been taken over by these illegal foreigners. And we're not being xenophobic, but we are being unapologetic, patriotic. And we want to see and make sure that our children are safe to go to the shop. How is it possible that your child can't go to the shop, which is around the corner, because the parents are scared that their child might be kidnapped and held for ransom? That is not correct. That is not why our forefathers fought for this country so hard.
So kidnappings for ransom are common? Are you
in
saying they're
Ekurhuleni,
commonplace in Ekurhuleni?
Look at the stats recently, all over South Africa. It's been spiking relatively high because of constituted to illegal foreigners. And this is a trade that you can look into Western Africa, because most of the things happen there. And these guys are here, and that's why it spiked like that.
Mr. Moseki, this is also one issue that you have campaigned strongly on. What's your resolution to it? What do you think is the permanent solution to it?
Well, I'll go back to what we said earlier on, Xoli, in that, look, the issue of illegal immigrants or immigrants in general, it's not even our position as Action SA. It's actually encroached in our constitution. Now, we've got leaders who are not prepared to address this matter. And as Action SA, we've been very clear that if you are in South Africa, in Ekurhuleni, and you are here illegally, we're going to deal with this matter head on, and we're not apologetic about it.
In what way?
Well, as I have said, we're going to have to make sure that when we get into council, we pass the reports that will empower us to have a specific unit that will deal with issues of immigration, and obviously going to be working hand in hand with our stakeholders, being your Home Affairs Department and other international relations departments, so as to make sure that we clean Ekurhuleni of everybody who doesn't belong to Ekurhuleni. Xoli, this is very painful. You know, when I'm listening to this woman speaking here and that other guy talking there, that they're sitting at Wadeville at factories. They do not have jobs. All businesses around Ekurhuleni, all of those factories around Ekurhuleni are operational 24/7. They've got workforce. But when you get there, 90% of the workforce is foreign nationals. It's illegal immigrants. And South Africans are sitting at home, they do not have an employment. And it cannot be correct that we only use South Africans as voting kettles. When we need their votes, that's only when then we go to them, and when they need us, we are unable to defend them to the land. So we are very clear to say every business in Ekurhuleni will make sure that they adhere to the Labor Relations Act of South Africa, and making sure that South Africans are in the majority in all of their businesses. But over and above that, we will not remain with anybody who's an illegal immigrant in Ekurhuleni. Give us mandate, South Africans, people of Ekurhuleni. I can tell you, by end of November, this matter will start rolling from the council.
Mr. Ngodwana, you've been sitting in council. Yes. Why have you allowed that to happen? The majority of people employed in factories in Ekurhuleni are foreign nationals who, in Mr. Moseki's words, are illegal. Why hasn't the Labor Relations Act been enforced? Why are you sitting on your hands?
Okay. Now, to answer to you, Xoli, I'll be very honest to you, because yes, we've been hearing about these issues, to say in most of the factories they hire foreign nationals.
Undocumented. There's no problem with hiring a foreign national, because remember, these people bring specialized skills, some of them. But if you're going to employ a person who is not properly documented in the country, that's illegal.
Yes, that is very illegal. That is illegal. But now the fact of the matter is that we need to have proof to say in that factory they are undocumented foreign nationals. So as the city cannot go there to do...
So how does he know that they are undocumented, most who work in those factories? It means someone is not doing their jobs at city level.
I will say, because we cannot just thumbs up to say there. We need to have a proof. I'm not saying it's not there, but, and if it's there, it's wrong. Yes. So as the city, you cannot go to the private sector to say, to do the audit there. But if it happens, then as community leaders there in Ekurhuleni, we can deal with that. And I'm sure, because if it's happening, there are people that know about these things. They should have come up front so that we can address this matter. Because if it's not reported, you cannot just go there as without the proof or anything.
Well, I'm sorry, my brother. Let me come in there for a second. The municipality becomes a driving vehicle of the regional economy of Ekurhuleni. They provide certificates for businesses. You cannot operate a business in Ekurhuleni without being given a certificate. They've got inspectors who move around these factories to check for compliance and whatnot and what have you. Part of their job is to zoom into these matters and work hand in hand with Department of Home Affairs. They are seeing there's whistleblowers. If you can go to Ekurhuleni municipality, there's lots and lots of reports from ordinary South Africans to say, guys, our country is going. We are sitting here, South Africans, we cannot be employed because we are not being defended by the current government. And they do literally nothing about it.
We're going to have to pick up on this with you, Mr. Chair, because it talks to the failure of the coalition government which you were part of. Now, why in the world should residents in Ekurhuleni trust you with their votes again? We're going to deal with that in a moment. When we return, we're not only going to deal with that, but also there is a waste management tender that was issued there. What happened? We'll get some answers in a moment.
Life in Toni, I can say, indawo with many opportunities, you see, just like, let's say, if you want to open a business, they'll support you, just that there are challenges that we as youth we are facing. Some, they tend to steal cars, you see, due to the lack of jobs that we are being promised by our government. So, yeah, I can say that because most of us, we go to school, then we end up not doing anything. Some went to universities, some went to colleges, but they end up sitting at home, not doing anything. Then they tend up to commit crime just to feed their families, I can say, and support their needs. Because without money, nothing is happening.
You're watching the Accountability Corner. In focus is the city of Ekurhuleni and jobs all across the board. Wherever you went in this local government election campaigns, people have been crying about jobs. Mr. Chair, have you failed the people of Ekurhuleni by not sending inspectors around these factories when you get reports suggesting that foreign nationals who are illegal in the country are sitting in jobs where ideally South Africans should be sitting?
I think, Xoli, you've mentioned a very, very nice thing earlier, whereby you say someone is not doing his or her job, and this has not been coming since 2016. Government has been like this forever, whereby I think people in government feel that they have a sense of ownership in because they are employed by government. And that's an element that we have to change. That's a situation that we have to really, really look at and change. In terms of failure, Ekurhuleni with the foreign nationals, foreign nationals are a problem. And we have to seriously have a look at that and how best we can do. And what we are saying as the Patriotic Alliance, tomorrow's Monday, they must pack their bags after election. At 9 o'clock, Tuesday morning, they must pack their bags because we are coming for them. That's clearly what we are saying, and that is our position.
But you'll do that legally?
We will do the cleaning. There's a clear instruction. Legally. We're not going back to xenophobic circumstances or whatever. But our press has given an instruction, and it's clear with everybody. So we've
just
also
give us a practical sense of what is exactly going to happen.
Exactly, like look at our community economies. They are owned by illegal foreigners, Pakistanis and so forth, but to mention a few. So these shops will be closed, and we will help them pack their bags to go.
Sure.
We are very unapologetic about that one.
I want to move on quickly to this issue, and we can't not discuss it because it was one infamous story in Ekurhuleni, the waste management project. 1.2 billion was set aside for it, and the small community operators, this was supposed to basically get them to run viable businesses, but they've been left high and dry. What is your understanding of what actually happened? I know you're not in government, but as a resident of Ekurhuleni, what do you know about this contract?
Yeah, Xoli, that was a very, in my view, that was a very good move from the municipality in terms of empowering people.
Yes.
However, I think it became evidently clear that the intention was right, but the whole idea behind this whole thing was very wrong, because these were given to the very same system that we want to deal with, the so-called your cadre deployments. Were given to cadres who also had money for themselves, and at some point, because we've been called by even employees who worked with this for this solid waste project. They've been given money, they didn't pay employees, and most of them right now as we speak, I think if I'm not mistaken, they've now been 3 months without any payments from the municipality because the current administration have milled out the state.
Okay. Pause right there. What did you do about this issue?
Look, as the AIC, we are committed to fight the corruption within the government department.
You failed?
Yes.
You failed?
No, we didn't fail. Because, you know, I wouldn't say we failed. We didn't fail. Because this is one of our major priorities. Even with our manifesto, we've highlighted those issues to say corruption, we'll root it out.
Saying something on paper, Mr. Ngodwana, is different to putting it into action.
Yes, I agree with you. But remember, when we with my colleague next to me there, with those departments, ours was to do the oversight. We did question these things because we scrutiny. We came, we questioned. We even escalated the matter to the department, to the HODs, because now we are fighting with this thing to say, if the money is budgeted to go to waste, it must go to waste. We cannot say it's right now. If it gets misused, then you come across with people come to come and have a toy there in Civic Center, whereas.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Tony.
You allowed for this money to go into the hands of cadres, as Mr. Moseki said, and yet you are part and parcel of this coalition government. How did it happen under your watch?
It's very sad that it happened while we were part of this coalition, as we've mentioned before. Such a thing should never happen, never. And I think at this point our position is very, very much clear. Our chairperson in Ekurhuleni was doing the oversight of roads, and you can go and look. Our oversight is clear, it's clean. The others, it's whereby, as my colleague has mentioned, it's whereby the procurement system and the supply chain management has been defaulted and looted. Let's be honest about that, because we've
And
seen...
you're saying this now happened with the participation of the smaller coalition partners. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying, Xoli, is that they had oversight over those departments. What we have is oversight over roads, and we looked after that. But we have to say also categorically, be clear in saying that this happened on our watch, but it will never happen again.
Which smaller party was specifically or had the responsibility to provide oversight on this waste management project?
I have to say I'm not sure.
It's ANC.
I'm not sure.
ANC itself.
Yes, I will say with the oversight of environment and waste, it's ANC.
It's ANC, yes.
So because we'll find out us as the coalition partners, like myself, I was overseeing the track department, sports, heritage, education, arts and culture. So for Patriotic Alliance, oversight of infrastructure and yes, and road.
Right. Gentlemen, unfortunately this is all the time we have for today. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Whether or not people of Ekurhuleni are going to judge you better for acting or not acting, it's up to them. But we're going to have to leave it there. Good luck to you, sir, on wanting to take over the running of that city.
Xoli, we are Action SA and we are action orientated.
All right, let's leave it right there. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my job here. All right, this has been the Accountability Corner, and I dare say it's probably the last installment here on Politics Unscripted. It has been a wonderful